The Vasari are masters of war, an art form perfected through sheer necessity of survival. After centuries of flight from a horrifying, all-consuming nightmare pushing them relentlessly forwards, the Vasari suffered scarce respite or chance to settle anywhere for long. Forged in the fires of war, they've developed a long martial tradition specialising in raiding, fighting retreat, scorched earth, and other asymmetric tactics. When paired with their unique approach to offensive and defensive weapons systems, and their highly developed manipulation of phase space technology, these tactics elevate the Vasari into a truly terrifying opponent for any adversary. In this video, we're going to take a look at a selection of strategies taken from the Vasari's playbook. Knowledge of any one of these tricks and tactics will advance your Vasari game in a big way, and learning them all will make you truly formidable. But more formidable still will be the commander that understands the principles that underpin their selection, building their own unique strategies and synergies to add to their big bag of tricks. And in Sins of a Solar Empire 2, with all else being equal, the commander with the bigger bag of tricks will win the day. The Jakara Navigator has a hidden use not immediately apparent upon first glance. Unshackle it from its duties as a scout and it takes on a second role as cheap and reliable point defense for your early game fleets. The Jakara is eminently spammable, and just a couple of these will be enough to eliminate the threat of those early game Javalis LRM cruisers often fielded by neutral Guardian fleets. Better yet, once the Sulsurak Defensor and Sunsurak Warden replace them, the Jakara can return to their intended roles of scouting enemy formations. The Kortul Devastator's Jam Weapons debuff stacks very nicely with the Severan Overseer's intimidating presence to dramatically reduce the damage taken in a fleet engagement. Part of this combined damage reduction is a function of a reduced fire rate and decreased tracking speed. This particular combination synergizes very well with the Vasari's corvettes and frigates, who utilise their rapid manoeuvrability to better take advantage of the tracking speed debuff. Enemy weapon systems that are still fast enough to hit a corvette will be badly affected by the damage reduction from intimidating presence too, ensuring those ships continue in the fight much longer. Because corvettes are so difficult to hit, they also take regeneration and speed buffs very nicely. Researching the various shield, armour and hull regeneration technologies and supporting them with the Scarantru carrier's repair cloud will ensure that Swarm of Wasps is almost impossible for your opponent to shake off. The Kortul Devastator may inflict enemy vessels in a wide area of effect with a rather nasty curse named Volatile Nanites, increasing damage taken to afflicted ships and causing damage to all other ships around them when they finally explode. This synergizes nicely with other Vasari area of effect weapon systems, such as the Jarasul Evacuator's Subspace Rupture, stacking damage upon damage and causing a devastating chain reaction to eliminate many ships at once. The Vasari's Heavy Fighter is a formidable strike craft and has much utility beyond just engaging other fighters in dogfights or harassing enemy bombers. With a relatively high pierce value on their light beam weapon and boasting a combination of rapid movement, shielding, armour and high hit points, the Heavy Fighter makes a viable counter to enemy light frigates that are well protected by point defence. The Heavy Fighter can shrug off a higher concentration of PD that would annihilate other strike craft, and their light beam weapons cannot be intercepted by point defence either. Both the TEC and Advent learned this one the hard way. The Vasari are very tricky to engage if a victory is not absolutely assured. Why? Because the Vasari are experts at chasing down and eliminating fleeing ships, and have many tools at their disposal to turn an organised retreat into a panicked rout. The Jarasul Evacuator's Gravity Warhead will slow down fleeing ships and allow the Vasari's excellent selection of fast-moving corvettes and frigates time to finish the job. This synergizes nicely with the Antarak Marauder's Distort Gravity ability, which increases friendly ship propulsion and turning rates. Put simply, the enemy slow down while the Vasari speed up. If this approach suits you, investing in phase resonance mobility upgrades can amplify this effect for ships just entering the gravity well. It is the Vasari's phase resonance technology that empowers them as such devastating raiders, who thrive on jumping in and out of a gravity well to make the best use of the various unlockable buffs it offers. While this can be a tricky playstyle for newer players, the bonuses they can receive to ship mobility, weapons firing rate and antimatter regeneration allow the Vasari to take on significantly larger enemy fleets and fight them at an advantage while the effect lasts. The Scarantru carrier's ultimate ability Replicate Forces makes 3 timed duplicates of any corvette, frigate or cruiser. This has many uses, but one of the more esoteric and useful is to clone a Jusotra Fabricator cruiser. You'll have 3 minutes to build as many ships as you can with these 3 duplicated factory ships, with those new ships being fully real and having no such time limit on their operational functionality. Use this sneaky trick to rapidly replenish combat losses or surprise your opponents with a sudden increase in fleet size. Another deadly use for the Jusotra is to sneak them behind enemy lines and carefully build a fleet of ships ready to strike from an unexpected direction. Uncolonizable gravity wells are often a good target for this covert tactic, and Tesseract Raider corvettes are a great choice, being fast to produce and excelling in hit-and-run raids, where they can harass unprotected enemy systems, damage infrastructure, boost your resource income in the process, and hopefully draw larger, more powerful fleets away from the front line, leaving it vulnerable to further military strikes. With the military Tier 3 Deploy Orclus unlock, the Vasari can immediately place this deadly starbase in a gravity well owned by an ally, alongside their own starbase. This is one way to break the usual starbase stacking rules, and makes a cooperative Vasari player a most desirable ally. The Orclus can also be deployed to neutrally owned systems, and this may come as quite the shock to any enemy that didn't think to scout out such an inconspicuous system before jumping in with a lightly defended fleet. While the Vasari can usually only field one starbase in each gravity well, once you hit military tier 5, there's nothing to stop you building an Orclus phase jump drive on a starbase in an adjacent gravity well to one that you will know will soon come under attack, and then immediately jumping that new, fresh Orclus into the battle the moment the old one is destroyed. Another trick is to cycle these two starbases in and out of the active battlefield before they are destroyed. This could be tricky in the midst of a pitched fleet action, but a moving starbase provides a great distraction, and your enemy will need to choose between finishing off a damaged Orclus or just crippling it and driving it off, knowing it may well be immediately replaced with a fresh one. The Vasari are deadly raiders and dominate the battlefield with asymmetric warfare tactics. They have a large and deep set of sneaky tricks at their disposal, ensuring their foes never quite know where they're going to spring from or what they're likely to be fielding. With their mastery of phase space technology thrown into the mix, they can be built in many different ways, and we hope you have fun figuring out even more unusual and exciting strategies.